Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting a certain type, even when you swear you are done with them? The energy that pulls you in, sometimes against your better judgment, isn't random. It's written in your chart, much like everything else, and it is directly opposite your rising sign. That point is called your descendant, the cosmic mirror that shows who you're drawn to, what qualities you seek in others, and the traits you're meant to integrate within yourself. So, if you want to know more about the descendant in your natal chart and what it means for your relationships, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and sound therapist, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you're new, welcome. And as always, if you aren't returning, welcome back. So today's video is all about the descendant. And a lot of people actually don't know about the descendant, and I don't see too many people talking about it. But in the realm of relationships, the descendant is literally everything. Now, long story short, your descendant is actually opposite your ascendant. And to recap, or to let you know off the bat, people use the term rising sign and ascendant simultaneously, but there is a slight difference between the two. The rising sign is the sign of your first house, but the ascendant is the exact degree of essentially your incarnation into this lifetime. So your rising sign represents the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon the moment that you were born. And that specific moment is memorialized by your ascendant. Your ascendant is the degree. So your rising sign could be Capricorn, but your ascendant would be 12 degrees of Capricorn. And your ascendant is denoted as AS or ASC in your natal chart. But directly opposite that ascendant degree is the descendant. And the descendant details everything about relationships, not just who you are attracted to, but sort of what you need in order to experience balance in your life. It's very important, although very rarely discussed. But in this video, we're going to break it down from soup to nuts. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So, of course, to begin, I'd like you to think about and meditate on this core idea. The descendant reveals what you are attracted to in others, not because it's foreign, but because it's the part of yourself you're learning to balance and embrace. Okay. That's hella deep. Because it's not just, okay, we like this thing or we like this person or we like these traits because they spark something in us. Your descendant really shows you what your soul needs to not only balance out your life, but to embrace yourself fully. In astrology, your rising sign represents how you show up in the world, while your descendant represents what completes you energetically. It's the axis of self and partnership. It's me versus we. Now, don't get it twisted. I don't want you to think that the characteristics of your descendant is what you're lacking, right? Because oftentimes society will sell you this story of you need to find your better half or your other half. You are a whole person. It's just that your descendant represents the other side of you that is likely not forward facing. You could think of it kind of as your shadow side. You could think of it as part of your personality or personal characteristics that aren't at the forefront of your thoughts. You are a whole person, but when you look at the characteristics of your rising sign or your ascendant and your descendant together, that tells you the complete story of who you are. And because the descendant is found in your seventh house, which is the house of other, the house of relationships, the house of we, it's the characteristics that you look for in others, not because you lack them, but because they help remind you of them within yourself. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't go over your head. All right. So now let's get into each descendant sign and talk about what each shine, each sign shows you about what you're drawn to, or I should say, who you're drawn to and why. Now, pay close attention here because it's going to seem like this goes out of order because I'm going to mention the descendant and the corresponding ascendant or the corresponding rising sign. So, we begin at the beginning with an Aries descendant. So if you have an Aries descendant, it means that you are a Libra rising. And you're drawn to bold, assertive, passionate people who push you out of indecision. So often we can really connect with our rising sign. Libra rising can be the people pleaser, can be the one who's indecisive. Yet you may be drawn to people and attract people who are decision makers, who are bold, who are willing to upset the apple cart, who love confrontation. That is a part of you that together with your Libra rising makes you whole. Okay. So next, we have a Taurus descendant, which means you are a Scorpio rising. And so for you, you crave steadiness and sensuality. You typically seek out partners who ground your intensity. So, Scorpio risings, hella mysterious, right? You guys are intense, you're moody, you're sexy, yet you may attract or be attracted to partners who are a lot more grounded, a lot less intense, a lot less deep than you, right? A little more superficial, okay? That's not an accident. And it's important to note here that this is where we perhaps get the phrase opposites attract. And I found this to be kind of misleading or troubling, especially when I started understanding spiritual law, because you attract what you are, right? So when I thought about it, I was like, opposites don't really attract because if I'm a certain way, I'm attracting the vibe or the frequency that I'm on, right? But because we're not only in a dualistic reality, but we are dualistic by nature, this, specifically your descendant, is where opposites attract. Hopefully, you get that. Next, we have a Gemini descendant, which means that you are a Sagittarius rising. Curiosity and conversation turn you on. You need someone who keeps your mind alive. Okay. So, as a Sagittarius rising, you are someone who perhaps connects with, like personally, the bigger picture, seeing the forest as opposed to the trees. Meanwhile, you may be attracted to partners who are detail oriented and who are very chatty and who really exude that Gemini energy. Okay. Next, we've got Cancer descendant, which means that you are a Capricorn rising. Emotional warmth and vulnerability melt your cool exterior. And this is one of those axes, right? The axis of Cancer and Capricorn that I always find super interesting. Capricorn can be quite stoic, Capricorn can be very serious, status oriented, all about their work and structure. Meanwhile, Cancer is soft and warm and gooey and loves home and privacy. And so you'll find that as a Capricorn rising, you're attracted to someone that feels like home, who's soft, who allows you to undress from that stoic exterior and really tap into your emotions. I love that. Next up, we've got a Leo descendant, which means that you are an Aquarius rising. Confidence and playfulness attract you, partners who make you feel seen. Now, Aquarius is the sign of the collective. So, Aquarius risings, you're very much in tune with collective energy, group energy. Yet, perhaps in relationships, you're attracting the star of the show, the football captain, the cheerleading the head cheerleader, the person who wants to be seen, the person who wants to stand out. That is a part of you as well. And we attract what we already are. Okay, I want you to keep this in mind with descendants. It's not about attracting who makes you whole, it's attracting people who remind you of who you already are. Okay, next up, we have a Virgo descendant, which means you are a Pisces rising. So, practicality and order balance your dreamy nature. You're drawn to grounded partners. Okay. So, apart from Cancer and Capricorn, Virgo and Pisces are also the signs that I always find really interesting. Pisces is so free flowing and go with the wind and creative and esoteric, and Virgo is so the opposite of that, grounded, especially in reality, analytical, right? So, as a Pisces rising, you're hella spiritual. You're all over the place. You may not have structure or boundaries, and I mean that in a good way. And you're just free flowing. Yet you like to attract partners that balance that ground you, that are in reality, that are evidence based, right? Again, descendant is the phrase. The descendant in your natal chart is the phrase opposites attract. Okay. Next up, we've got Libra descendant, which means that you're an Aries rising. All right. So you seek harmony, beauty, and emotional balance. You're learning to compromise. All right. Aries ascendant is all about me, me. But yet you attract partners who are about we, who are more people pleasing, who are more about harmony and peace as opposed to getting what you want at by any means necessary. Okay. Thereafter, we have Scorpio descendant, which means that you are a Taurus rising. Depth, loyalty, and intensity magnetize you. You crave emotional truth. Okay. So, as a Taurus rising, you can be, I don't want to say superficial, but you're consumed, or you focus on the five senses, right? And material wealth and material stability. But you like to attract partners who are deep, who are intense, who live underneath the surface, and who aren't so much about living by their five senses, but living by their soul. Now, here is an important point about descendants. Because it represents what you are attracted to or who you are attracted to, and it's in your seventh house, people will often report that they marry someone who has that sign, right? So if you are a Gemini ascendant, you may marry a Sagittarius. You may date a Sagittarius. You may even get into business with a Sagittarius. So the descendant is very telling when it comes to relationships. It can really detail in black and white who we will marry and who we will commit to. Super interesting stuff. Next, we have Sagittarius descendant, which means that you are a Gemini rising. Adventurous, free spirited partners expand your world view. All right. So, if you're a Gemini rising, you're someone who's really in the details. You're someone who's, I don't want to say very local, but you're someone who's really concerned with your immediate environment and learning specific things. But you're likely attracted to someone who opens your mind, who expands your worldview to things that you've never known or experienced. Thereafter, we have a Capricorn descendant, which means that you're a Cancer rising. All right. So you're drawn to mature, dependable energy that provides structure. I think that's pretty self explanatory, like I mentioned before, with the Capricorn rising and the Cancer descendant. With the Cancer, um, with the Capricorn descendant, meaning that you're a Cancer rising. As a Cancer rising, you're someone who's really emotional, private, homey, all of those things. And you want someone who lives in their head, who's logical, who's structured, and who's stable. Makes sense, right? Next, we have Aquarius descendant, which means that you are a Leo rising. All right. So individuality and intellect attract you. You love people who challenge convention. So, whereas with a Leo rising, you may be someone who's really like of the people. And by of the people, like you tend to stand out, but you're very much concerned probably with other people's opinions and things like that. You're attracted to someone who walks a different path, marches to the beat of their own drum, and someone who's perhaps unconventional, because those are the characteristics of Aquarius, which is where your descendant is. Okay. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces descendant, which means that you are a Virgo rising. Compassion and spirituality pull you in. You long for emotional merging. So, as a Virgo rising, you are someone who is grounded, evidentiary, right? You very much live in reality, but you're drawn to people who don't. You're drawn to people who are creative, who are esoteric, who are spiritual. It's like they give you that part of you, perhaps that you don't focus on enough. All right. But either way, regardless of whether wherever your descendant is, the descendant often describes not just what we like, but what we need to evolve. I'm going to say that again. It's not just about attraction for attraction's sake. It's about attracting what you need to evolve personally. It's the energy that balances your rising sign, the part of yourself that you see reflected in others. And that is the baseline for relationships, point blank, period. Relationships are merely just a reflection of us. And the descendant shows us what we are attracted to in others for what we need to evolve ourselves. So now let's move into a moment of reflection and self inquiry. So here is your reflection for today. Who are you consistently drawn to? And what do they reveal about the parts of yourself you're still learning to honor? If you have a type, what is that type really trying to show you about yourself? Okay. The descendant teaches us that attraction is never random. It's your soul seeking wholeness through another person. So don't automatically demonize your type. Try to understand what they're trying to teach you and how they're ultimately trying to help you evolve. So come back to this section, get out your journal and start writing. If you want to explore how your descendant connects with your Venus, your Mars, if you want to understand your full relationship chemistry, then definitely take the free style seduction quiz. The link is in the description box below and it'll show you your particular seduction style. All right. And if you want to go deeper into compatibility, join us inside of my private online community, Cosmic Collective, where we talk about attraction, partnership, and I use real chart examples every week during my live stream, which this month we are calling Cosmic Chemistry Fridays. It's a great opportunity to learn more, dive deeper into everything that we are talking about in the videos here on YouTube this week, and where you get to ask questions, even questions about your natal chart. I go live every week in Cosmic Collective, and I like to think of it as like my office hours where you can come with your questions and learn a little more. So if you're interested, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or you can hit the link in the description box below. All right, my loves, that's pretty much all I've got for you for this video on the Descendant and what it means for your type and who you just can't resist. I love this topic and I don't think it gets enough shine because it literally shows us not only how we can evolve, but who we are attracted to and just our whole story from our personal sort of personality and our personal world to our relationships. And I don't know what's more valuable than that. All right. So join me tomorrow where we'll talk about your fifth house, which is the house of romance, dating, and pleasure. We're going to take a little deep dive into the fifth house. So you definitely don't want to miss that. All right, my loves, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.